Hello everyone, it is Joe here from OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. If you're looking for PTCGO codes, check out the Potown store. You can get yourself a nice 5% discount on your orders using that OmniPoke code. And they've even got the new Cosmic Eclipse stuff, so there's no reason not to. For today's video, we are looking at an updated Pidgeotto Control deck. There's some scary new cards for this deck. I really do think the win con has been accelerated thanks to the include of Bellelba and Bryson Man into the format. I also do think there are a couple extra supporters that also help out the archetype, so we'll be looking at the list in greater detail now. So let's go into it. First of all, we are playing for Oranguru. He is the main attacker of the deck, and we use the term attack loosely because we rarely deal damage. We are looking to use resource management just to get cards from our discard pile back into our deck so we can try and create an infinite loop where we are running our opponent out of deck cards, whereas we will never run out. So resource management is the integral piece here. We're getting back stamps, getting back Chip-Chips, getting back Bryson Man, Pal Pad. You know what it's all about. Resource management is the focal point of this deck. We do also have profound knowledge, so if you do need to attack things like Muse or other annoying attackers against you, you can try and do this for an extra confusion flip against the opponent and sometimes force them to retreat out as well, which can be pretty decent. From there, we have a 3-1 split of the Pidgeys. You can play one that has 50 hit points because it has a better attack than the others, but you can't play more than one of this because it gets punished by a bunch of stuff. So just play one copy of the 50 hit pointer, and then just play for Pidgeotto. The airmail is the focal point of the archetype. It's how we get away with such an unconventional support account because you're going to try and use airmail the entire game to help you draw and thin towards some important pieces. And of course, when we are using resource management in the late game, when our deck is very thin, we can airmail to access every card that we just put back into the deck that turn, so we can try and take them to our advantage. So yeah, airmail, very, very awesome ability that it's all centered around. We also play one Ditto Prism. It's in here exclusively to be an extra out to Pidgeotto because they are so important to us. We play 3 copies of Jirachi. Stellar Wish is a fantastic ability, as we all know. And just look at the ratios. Like, we have 37 valid targets for Stellar Wish. The most important ones are Pokegears and Elms for those opening turns, so that we don't just get donked. Until we get the Pidgeotto engine online, this archetype is very fragile. So Stellar Wishing towards those pieces is really awesome. And at the same time, just in general, helping us dig towards extra supporters and giving us an extra out towards, assembling pieces of our combo, be it hammers, be it gust, be it Chip-Chip and stamp combos. Jirachi is just phenomenal in those opening turns where we don't need to resource management. We can just go ahead and wish our turn away, which is pretty awesome. And it protects like our birds and stuff because this will be the guy up front taking the hits, which is sweet. We have 2 copies of Articuno-GX. Legendary Ascent is a great ability. It means he can jump straight into the active and steal any water energy from other Pokemon to this guy, which is sweet. And we use him mainly for the Cold Crust GX attack. You discard all energy from both active Pokemon, so we have to get rid of the water on ourselves, but also, hopefully, we are getting rid of a bunch of energy on some big threatening attackers that our opponents accumulated. Oftentimes, you'll try and do the Cold Crush GX attack on a turn where you're also hand-locking them in some respect. Either they just have no hand cards, or we've gone, Stamp, Surge, Mars, JJ, Chip-Chip. We're going to try and completely limit their options and also remove the attacking threat that they have available, and that's a pretty big deal. Also, against things like Mewtwo, you can try and jam this kind of early to deny them the big spreading attacks against Pidgeotto. So usually the Articuno will be used in that sort of mid to late game just to secure that lock. But sometimes you do it proactively just because you're worried about things like SBDO plays from certain decks, etc. We do also have Ice Wing. Sometimes the fastest route for you winning is not decking out the opponent. It's just recycling Chip-Chip and combining it with things like Profound Knowledge and Ice Wing if they only have 1 or 2 Pokemon in play. Oftentimes when you're up against a control deck, you don't put down things that just clog up your bench space because they are gust targets and such. So sometimes you can punish, clever players and just Chip-Chip them a couple times and Ice Wing them a couple times, and suddenly they lost the game. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And the final Pokemon we play is one Absol. Dark Ambition, increasing the retreat cost of basic Pokemon by 1 is really sweet. It just means that even otherwise good Pokemon to put down, or safe Pokemon, things like the Dene and whatnot, it becomes really awkward for things, and they just get trapped a lot more. So this Absol is a super good card for that reason alone. In terms of the item cards, we play 2 copies of Reset Stamp, so that as the opponent takes prizes, we can then lower their hand size, get them in range of the Surge, Jesse James, Mars sort of combo to completely run them out of stuff, which is sweet. And it can be used alongside a deck out strategy. If you're using Bellelba Bryson Man, sometimes it can be like the finishing combo to make them run out of deck, which is sweet. 2 Chip-Chip Ice Axe, an integral piece of the archetype for sure. Once you've removed their hand, you then manipulate their top deck into a bad card, so you can keep doing your loop. That's the entire aspect here. These days, we are much more aggressive at midding the opponents, so we're hopefully getting rid of good cards out of their deck with Bellelba, and then going for the Chip-Chip afterwards. So that's something sequencing-wise to bear in mind, whereas previously, you could often like Chip-Chip at the start of your turn, knowing that you'll be like using Mars and stuff instead to ruin the hand. So the sequencing has changed a little bit with that, but that's really about it. We play 2 copies of Pal Pad. You can get away with 1 copy, but I really do hate prizing this card because it just eats up your resource management targets. So the 2 for 1 is really nice that you can get off the Pal Pad. We have 3 copies of Crushing Hammer. I've added in a Will to the deck as a new supporter card. That means that your Crushing Hammers flip heads. So I feel like you can get away with only playing 3 copies now. Previously you played 4. It helps out a lot against Mewtwo, just grabbing them early, of course, which is definitely a big deal. But I think overall 3 copies is fine. Like you very rarely ever prize like 3 copies, and if you're using Will now, you can get the most out of these 3 rather than playing a full 4 count. And we play 3 customs. We still play this as our gusting opportunity, just because it can be for anything, so we can trap stuff, which is obviously very good. And then we play the 4 of Bike and Gear, so that we don't just lose on the opening turns, and in general just help us find the handlock pieces and everything else that we need throughout the game. For stadiums, we're playing 2 Power Plant. We want to shut down a lot of things, a lot of draw-based abilities, things like the new Silvally among them. Also, the Dene is out from the top of the deck, so a lot of your Chip-Chips are much safer if there's a Power Plant in play. Obviously, we're very afraid of Mewtwo attacking us because they have Solgaleo to retain energies a lot of the time. Also, we want to shut down things like Weavile so that we can actually trap things. So, yeah, Power Plant is an integral stadium to have in the deck. Onto the supporters, we play a bunch of one-offs. I've mentioned Will already. He can allow us to choose the results of a coin flip. So essentially you play Will, you say heads, and then you show them a Crushing Hammer, and you become a Plumeria effect. You're a Plumeria that's 1 cheaper card as well, so it's technically an upgrade on Plumeria, and this card's actually super good. A lot of the times when you're in that lock, before you're able to Bryson Man your opponent's deck away, you got to get rid of the threats on the board, right? You got to run them out of stuff. So your initial few combos might oftentimes be things like Power Pad crushing Chip-Chip, and the Power Pad will be getting back Will, and then Will is going to be used alongside that crushing to guarantee that energy is off the board. So you whittle them down, they no longer have a board, and then you can start going for the deck from then on, which is pretty sweet. The other 2 new supporters that we play, the first is Rosa. Rosa is only live once we suffer a knockout, but obviously we have a lot of fragile stuff and things will be going down, and it allows us to search our deck for a Pokemon, a trainer, and a basic energy card, which is really sweet because one of the things that we really want to deal with, one of the things we want to scout is Articuno. Getting Cold Crush available from a supporter is really good, and at the same time it can get more combo pieces. It can get you towards your Stamp, your next custom, your Hammer, your Chip-Chip. So Rosa is very versatile and super strong. So I like her as a one-of just because it gives us extra outs towards this Articuno package. And it makes me feel happier at a 2-2 energy split rather than a 1-3. Because Recycle Energy is the better energy, no doubt. But having Rosa as the third water energy out, that's actually way more searchable because we have gears for them. And Stellar Wish, that I feel much more content at getting Articunos early if ever we need to, and just sort of stop that pressure straight away, which is really good. So I think she's a reasonable one-of in the deck for sure. Bellelba and Bryson Man is what speeds up this archetype a bunch. You discard the top 3 cards of each player's deck, and that's our new win condition. It used to be that we would have to continually resource management back, stamp, surge, and Jesse James and Mars sometimes, especially if the opponent's on 3 prizes. It was a long convoluted combo, and you also need to have additional cards that you were happy to discard from your hand as well. So usually it would be sort of set up over a couple turns. Now you just get back a Bryson Man, and you just do that, and then you just resource management back in the Bryson Man. So it really opens up the spaces for the 3 resource managements, which makes you much more safe against people from getting back into the game. It means that you have more... Well, it takes you less time to like accumulate your custom catchers back, accumulate your hammers back, just get things like Tate Liza's back into the hand, Surge back into hand, all this other stuff. It really does safeguard you a lot more. I enjoy the deck a lot more than now that you have Bryson Man as an available option. I only play 1 copy because you still can do the old-fashioned route, which is going for Stamp, Jesse James, Mars, and Chip-Chip again. So the old-fashioned route is still available. So if he is prized, you just got to play a longer game. If they're not prized, happy days. If you do want to go down a heavier route of Bryson Man, I've seen a few lists that play like double Surge, double Bryson. It means you can, in theory, be milling 6 cards a turn, and that obviously makes your win condition very fast. But I think the cards are so dead, like outside of you already have completing the lock, that I don't want to commit more spaces. So I'm just playing 1 right now. Same thing for the Surge. Obviously, it's an integral piece when you are trying to go for like Stamp, Surge, Mars, Jesse James combos. Without Surge, you have to allow your opponent to take additional prizes against you, basically. You have to wait for them to get down to 2 prizes to just go for a Stamp Jesse James on their own, basically. But all going well, it means that you can Surge and do additional things, additional draw in certain turns. And it just speeds up the whole process. You can do some cool plays where you like Surge, Bryson, and then you Pal Pad back in Surge and Bryson, and then you AML back into those and do the second Bellelba Bryson Man. So you don't need 2 physical copies of the Bryson Man to do the 6-card loop, as long as you play correctly with your Pal Pads. So yeah, there's that for sure. Other one-offs, I still like the Hapu. Hapu is great dig potential. I should mention as well that Bellelba Bryson Man discarding the top 3 of your deck is actually like helpful. You want to get your deck as thin as possible, so you can just sort of fire this off mid-game and it's like fine. You'd rather be drawing cards with like Mars or Hapu, but like if you just have a free supporter turn, you just sort of play this even if you're not in the lock, because you can sometimes randomly cheese good cards and you're thinning your own deck, which is excellent. Yeah, the Hapu helps us discard cards from our deck to overall get us to that range where we can airmail everything that we resource management back in, and at the same time we're cherry picking some good cards. The final one-off we play is Jesse and James. As I've said, it's integral alongside the Stamp to stop the opponents from having a hand. If this is prized, you hope that the Surge isn't also prized, so that you can let your opponent get down to 2 prizes, and you can get around them by going Surge, Mars, Mars, well, Stamp, Surge, Mars, Mars. So yeah, this deck operated before Jesse James. It's just stronger with it in the list. Then we also have 2 copies of Tate Liza. I prefer this to playing Cynthia just because it's extra help. It means that you can move out of your Articuno much more easily and get back into resource management once you've done a Cold Crush, and it just also helps out when you're stuck Stellar Wishing and all that other jazz. So I like double Tate, and in general Shuffle Draw can help you out in a pinch. And then we have for Professor Elm's Lecture. It gets all the birds, and that's all it needs to do. That's why you maximize the copies of him. 1 board, obviously best on a Jirachi, but also works on a Pidgeotto or an Absol, which is pretty cool. We have the 2 recycles. Obviously, it's just easy to just get these back. Again, it just protects you from having to resource management back energies a lot of the time, which is great. And also, there's the 2 waters in here to work off of that Cold Crush, and also Ice Wing if we are fortunate enough to not prize any of them. So there are a few extra cards, of course, that you can always be playing. Giraffe is one of them, especially with mirror matches around. Giraffe may be mandatory. I think potentially Giraffe and Faber might be required if you want to be able to win mirrors. But mirrors are super weird, so I'm not going to get too into the details of mirror. But Giraffe could help out. Obviously, Giraffe helps out against Malamar and Mewtwo as well. So Giraffe is pretty reasonable in that regard. Even as just a one-off, similar to Absol, how it can just change things and affect the game for sure and make people play differently. So that's very good. I don't think there's many other Pokemon you could consider. I know Sander has played the Mareep Sleep little package. You change your Escape Board for a U-turn board, you cut the Jirachi, you get a Mareep in here and a few other pieces, and then every now and then your opponent's napping and it buys you a free turn here and there. Speaking of free turns, Lily's Clefairy Doll is definitely a card that I've had in here and experimented with. I think especially because Arceus Palkia Dialga is an archetype, they really put you on a clock to draw a bunch of cards and assemble your combo, and that's not always easy. So sometimes playing Clefairy Doll, or Lily's Pokédoll, I should say, it just gives you an extra turn or two here or there. Obviously, it's best against ADP because it saves you 2 prizes. It's also good against Dark Box for the Guzzlord thing, but in general, just giving yourself an extra turn to just, it's like you buy yourself like 8 or 10 more cards because it's more airmailing, it's more supportering to dig deeper into the deck. It's just all around very good. So if you're struggling getting your hand assembled for a lock, maybe just playing 1 or 2 Pokédoll can solve that issue and just give yourself more time because, again, not many decks are playing customs, which is a thing. I do have to mention there was actually one other Pokemon that you could consider. It's still Mew in the deck. It's still reasonable to protect around like Naga Sniping, Pikarom, and a few other things here and there. Also, it can be used. You can use your Mew to deal with opposing Mews as well, which is something worth noting. For other supporters, I think there was 1 or 2 other supporters I was thinking of. Am I happy with my supporters? Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Like, Cynthia is sometimes in the list, but I prefer Tate anyway. Like, you need to commit 1 space to a Tate anyways, so it's like weird min-maxing if you want to go for a 1-1 split of each, because then you prize the Tate and you feel really bad. So yeah, just one of those. Oh, Stadium is definitely one. So Champions Festival is one that I've definitely thought about. This protects you a little bit against Mew, which is nice, and at the same time, Champions Festival can just be good against, just protecting your birds, really, which is really nice. Sky Pillar, for a similar reason, can be decent. And having a bounce to your own power plant can make your Articuno more live. If you've had to play the plant down, just, like, for example, if you haven't got a Chip-Chip available and you want to do a hand lock, you put the power plant down so they have less outs to draw cards. You shut down Cherish Ball and Dedenne outs, basically. But then you want to use the Articuno later, rather than having to use a Tate Liza into her. You can just bounce your own plant, which could be reasonable, so that could also pop up. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with the birds list. We'll jump into the ladder now, and hopefully people don't concede to us, because a lot of the time, people are bored of pricing birds at this point. I do think the archetype is sound. I think it's very awkward to play against, and its win condition is accelerated now, so a lot of people have this as one of the top decks in the game right now, just because previously, the clock would go against the deck sometimes, and now that's much less of a thing. You should be able to close games a lot quicker these days with the Bellelba. So, you can see exactly why we played Jirachi in the list. We get to kick off with him, which is sweet. I'm also going to put a monkey down because we're going second, and there's no reason not to put him down when you always need to have 1 on board at some point anyways. Let's just do the job for us. And we are actually up against ADP. So ADP is a new archetype that's a potentially very awkward matchup. Because they have that Alter Creation GX attack that just means that they take 2 prizes every time they hit a knockout rather than 1. So our win condition is really like shortened. We have a much shorter clock to win the game against them. They also have Energy Acceleration inbuilt, so if we don't go for an Articuno play, well, we're in bad shape. Also, we can't Articuno a Keldeo without a power plant down, and they play Chaotic Swell, which stops us putting a power plant down on in 1 turn. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going against us, basically. We're going to start with this Wish here, and very good. We get an Elm, and you can already see what we're eyeing up. Let's go ahead and fire this off, see how many birds we've got available. So we've prized 1, which is fine. We drew 1 for turn, so I can do that. We do have an Articuno in here. We have both Chip-Chips. We have 2 Crushings, 2 Customs, all of our Customs. We have 1 Stamp available, which is all you need. We've got the Bellelba, we've got Mars and JJ. We have Rosa as well, which is really important. We have all 4 of our energy. Okay, sweet. Alright, most of our pieces are here, which is awesome. Prized 1 Oranguru as well. You really need to keep an eye on how many Oranguru you have. In a matchup like this, though, if they've killed 3 Oranguru, you lost the game, so not a problem. Not a problem at all. We will put down 3 Pidgeys, and we will pass. Alright, so this turn the opponent is hoping to get an Alter Creation off, and from then on, they need to attack 3 times to beat us, which is very scary. Very scary indeed. As long as they can get a pivoting card for their Jirachi and a Metal Energy card, which doesn't sound like a lot, does it, guys? So yeah, I after playing this matchup a few times, I definitely think a few Clefairy Dolls in here, even just like 2 Clefairy Doll, just having a bit more breathing room to like set up your hand lock could be very beneficial. So if you guys are expecting a lot of ADP, some dolls may not go amiss. They have the nice full art Malolana, and they're just going to go for the Alter Creation. Oh, one supporter I was thinking of was Faber. Yeah, I mentioned Faber during the Giraffe Rig chat. But yeah, Faber could be a good card. I was reminded just because I saw a Rainbow Energy and I was like, huh, we can't punish that at all. Alright, we're going to start with... What do I want to start with here? What do I want to draw the most? We have a Rosa, so I can always go for an Articuno play next turn, which seems really good. So I want to start with a Wish, because I want to ML into the 3rd Pidgey physically. So I want to go for that. The Crushing Hammer is obviously very good. Now finding a Will off the Pokegear is an excellent card. I'm going to do MLs first, actually. So I don't need the water because we have Rosa. And I'm probably not going for a resource management this turn anyways. Bikes are always good. We don't need the JJ so much right now. I don't mind firing off the Elm here. Let me see what the... No, I want to Elm first. We'll get our birds. Let's get one more ML in. We don't need the Articuno, because again we have the Rosa. So that's allowed to be at the bottom of our deck. Now we've used all the Elms. We don't need that stuff. Big coin flip for us here. Oh wait, we got to do this first, because we could have the Will. No, but we do have Hapu. That could get us potentially more Crushings and more handlock pieces for next turn. Alright. Never lucky. Let's just pass. Alright. So, any energy will do for them to just get an attacker down. They're going to Cynthia Caitlyn back Mallow and Lana, which is very smart because it's more switches. And obviously part of our win condition is going to try and like handlock and trap things. So we're going to see the board come down and we're going to see an Ultimate Ray here. For 2 big prizes. And also they're going to power up the benched ADP. Honestly surprised they didn't put Keldeo down. Like, they put this down rather than a Keldeo, which I'm honestly surprised about. Because the Keldeo can't be Articuno'd. Alright. We already have a Chip-Chip, so we can get this. Custom is fine. Absol is fine. None of these are super great. We'll be going for a Rosa here for sure. Sorry, a Hapu here for sure. I want a Rosa on the turn that I... Sorry, I want to Articuno on the turn that we handlock. So we've got to throw this stuff away. No real backup for us right now. So we're just chilling. I might put down the Absol to play around Stamp. I think it's fine. Okay. More energy to the benched ADP. And just a nice ultimate ray. They are one attack away from winning. But this turn we can definitely Articuno him. And we can handlock him, hopefully. The only piece we're missing right now is like Mars and JJ that's already in the discard pile. So ideally we get double Mars, but there's one. There's the water, so I don't need to Rosa now. Which gives me essentially 2 extra draws to find our next Mars. Bryson Man is probably the pick here. Alright, so we're going to Stamp. We are going to Surge. Going to play a Mars. And we missed our next Mars, so they have one random card, which is very scary. So we're going to go for a Rosa here. I think. Obviously going to take the monkey. I'm going to take this. I'm going to try and take a crushing here. So I can try and random cheese this metal off, so then he doesn't just win off of a switch card. So our board now is going to be a monkey on a Articuno that's jumping into the active. Energy that goes here. Playing around Reset Stamp. Playing this crushing. Does get tails, so we do lose to a switch card here. I'm going to put the Power Plant down to deny Dede. We're going to play this. He's allowed those. And we'll go for the Cold Crush. And hope that his one random card isn't a switch card. And it's an energy card. That's safe. That is safe. For now. We will begin the Tate Liza process. So we have our other Chip-Chip in our discard pile, so we again are giving the opponent one random card, which is very scary, especially because I can't let him attack once, you know. I shouldn't have played this gear. I should have known what was in my deck. That's my bad. So we're doing this switching effect here for sure. We got to get some Chip-Chips back so I can control a little bit better. We have 3, 4, 5, 6 going back into the deck. I don't need any handlock cards. So what do I need? I need Chip-Chip Hammer Hammer. Or double Chip-Chip Hammer. Alright, one random card. Can he beat us off of a random card? Should be the last time we give him a card that we don't choose. Fantastic. Okay. Alright, we don't care about either of these. This is what we do care about. One of these. And we want that crushing. So we're playing the Will, so I can play the Chip-Chip now. Trash Ball is allowed as long as he doesn't have a Stadium in his hand. So I think I'd give him the guaranteed energy, knowing that I'm taking off an energy here. Energy's allowed. I will attach an energy card here. I will play Will. We want heads. Get rid of an energy. And we need to get back. So we have one Chip-Chip in our deck. I'm Pal Padding back. Alright. So we want the next Chip-Chip and both hammers. I think... more hammers still seem really good. Like I said, we have so much more time with the Bryson that we just want to run him out of energies first. I think I'll start my turn with Pal Pad for Will and Surge. So I can Mars. Alright, they're going to play their spinner. If they have Tag Switch in their hand, we lose, but we would have already lost to that, right? Because Mahala gets them just a Stadium, just to bounce the Power Plant. This could be a Dede. If the other card that they drew that was random was a Dede. But they would have already had that, right? We already forced them the spinner, so we know we're not scared. They chose not to put Swell down as well. Alright, so we're going to put the Will and the Surge back. So we really want to get this Chaotic Swell as well, because that's a scary card. We can Surge. Mars guarantees that we find Will. We snipe the right target, which is sweet. We can Will. We can Crushing. We want heads if possible. We'll take off the metal here. We'll chip. He's allowed a water. We will resource. And you can see how busted Will is now. Wait, we only have one crushing in the whole deck? Yeah, man, we prized 2 crushings. I'm just going to take another Chip-Chip. Agonizingly close, and yet... Oh no, we already have the other hammer in hand. Yeah, okay. In deck, I mean. Unfortunate that we rolled Surge and Will in the same 2. Meant that I couldn't start Bellbellaing. We want to Bellbella the last monkey in our deck as well. We'll go for heads. I think it sounds good. Hood is allowed. We're going to go for the resource. And get these back. I just want to keep these Pal Pads around so I can start Surge Bellelba or Bellbella for 6 cards soon. I still want to run him out of energies, but how many metals have gone? 3? It's not a lot. Let's get those in. Never will. Alright, so we Surge. We Mars. We Bryson Man. Away our last Oranguru. Oh, it's our Pal Pad. Whoops. It's fine though, we're always getting it back. We can do this. Oh, scary cards. So we're gonna resource. I think it's just these. You can see that we're in a pretty decent lock now. Okay, they're going to Cherish. They're probably having a look through their deck to see if they should scoop. I imagine that's why we're seeing an extended Cherish Ball. They're just going to choose to fail it. 27 cards is a lot to get through, but... taking their time. They're going to pass it to us. Okay. So I'm just going to use a Will this turn. I'm not going to Surge or do any of that stuff. We'll just accumulate it for next turn. We will go for a Will. And we'd like a Heads. Malalana allows him to switch, but that's not a problem. Which means I probably want to... Probably want to take some Marses for next turn. I think it's this stuff. Maybe just take more Marses. We'll slowly grind down the benched ADP. So they can Stellar Wish, but I don't think you can get them any individual card. The other options were Acrobike and Tag Call. Custom gets him draw. Alright, we're a little scared. Was it more correct to give him Bike? I guess it was, right? Tackle gets him, like, Cynthia Caitlin. Alright, well, we survived there. So we're going to Pal Pad this stuff. We're going to Surge Mars and JJ. We'll take the Chip-Chip. That's scary. Maybe I need to fire off my Crushing Hammer this turn. Just so I don't lose. Never lucky. Feels bad when you never will. Alright, so we're gonna resource. We need one Crushing. We need this. We already have one Chip-Chip. I think I just take more of these, you know. Just try and race these energies out the equation. Maybe I should have been racing these energies out the equation quicker. Let's see if they have any more Malolanas. Wait, was I meant to take a second custom? I probably was, right? Because now we can Stellar Wish a couple times more. Oh, jeez. This Stellar Wish can just get him a supportive... I guess he could beat us off of custom. Yeah, he has to try and find a custom again or an acro. Tag switch isn't game, which is good. Obviously. Man, I've taken some... I think I've played pretty badly here. I could have lost on a few spots. So he's going to put all of his eggs into one basket, which is fair. Put those back in so I can use the Surge this turn. Unfortunately, I can't Surge Will. This outcome doesn't matter, it's the next hammer that matters, right? This is a big hammer. Ooh, very good. That gives us a bit of breathing room, for sure. Yeah, okay. He knows that we can remove an energy a turn now, so even if he attaches every turn, he can't win. Alright, I should have done that a lot quicker. I should have not been focused on surging Bellelba. I should have just been getting the second hammer each time. Yeah. I take the will for granted that I can just be like slower with it and just be like one a turn is fine to get rid of, but I should have been like way more on it to get rid of stuff. I probably also should have given him the Acrobike over the Malolana. Disrespecting the Jirachi. Obviously the Jirachi was stuck as well because of Absol. So I didn't die like super easily. He needed combos. He needed like another switch plus an energy. Wasn't quite as fragile. Thanks to Absol. Oh, it's another ADP deck. ADP playing its own Absol? Gross. Get out of here. Alright, we're kind of all in on one Pokegear right now. Which isn't a great feeling. There's a Keldeo. And just a pass. Okay. Well, let's go. Yikes. Okay. I really don't want to put down Power Plant because it's very bad for our Articuno odds. Very bad for Articuno. It means that I need to find like a Tate Liza or a board. But our hand is so weak and we're so rushed against this archetype that I want to draw as many cards as possible. I don't know, maybe it's greedy to go down that route, but... More bikes are good. We've drawn into double Elm, which is sweet. So if I could get another Pidge, that would be amazing. I'm actually going to gear first. I probably should have geared before the first Acrobike, in all honesty. What's better than a Mars? Hapu? Rosa? Okay. An extra card dug deep. Let's just resource back our Acrobikes. Because we'll be shuffling our deck with Elm. So it kind of makes sense. Alright, so they're going to just alter creation. And we have a handful of turns to not lose the game. How exhilarating. Right, we have all 4 birds available this time, which should help matters. We do have both Articunos. 1 Chip-Chip available. We haven't got rid of any yet. Yeah. 1 Chip-Chip, only 1 hammer. Okay. playing the 3 is a bit yikes. We have both our stamps, we have both our pads. We do have JC James, Mars, okay. Rosa is in here, 1 water and the other's attached. Our board is in here. Will is in here. Surge is in our hand. Okay, that's fine. How many monkeys? All of our monkeys. Absol is here. Okay. We will draw 2 cards. Or draw a card. Real quick, while we're here. That's a good one. Do I want any of these cards back in my deck? Not really. Not really. The gears help me get towards Hapus and Roses and stuff, but I think we chill. No, you know, because we've got the Surge, I don't mind it. Close though. It's close to passing there, which is better. It's close. The deck is so fat. There's a unit energy. And an Oaks setup. How curious. Well, they're playing Silvally, so if they play Swell as well as Silvally, we basically can't win this matchup. Because they use Keldeo, they probably definitely have Swell, right? They're ready for this matchup for sure. Oaks setting, wow. So I guess they're not playing any Ends Resolves. We know that Jesse James is in the deck, so I don't need to Surge for Handlock. He'll be going down to 2 anyway, so we'll just Surge this turn to make us draw more cards, basically. Mars is okay. Let's do this one. Crushing Hammer is okay. Also protecting Bird is potentially okay, but I think I still take this first. Jesse James is tempting for sure, because I need it for next turn. I need a lot for next turn though. I just need to dig deeper. Board is insane. Board is absolutely insane. That's going to be our saving grace for sure. Hapu is perfect as well. Nice, nice, nice. Alright, Jesse James is back. Perfect, 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 perfect. And I can also get a Jirachi for this turn as well, which is also so good. So I can't put down the 4th Pidgey until this Jirachi dies. I can, actually, I can do this. How good is Rosa? Rosa is not good. Power Plant is good. Next turn, I go Stamp, JJ, Cold Crush. After this has got knocked out, what else do I need? I guess I still need Power Plant in case he gets a Silvally down. But if he plays Swell, I think I still can't win. Alright, we'll send it to our opponent. ADP with a Sylvali GX is definitely a game. Yeah. Maybe we need Faber just for swell. He's also going to stamp us, incidentally. Which also wrecks us pretty hard. Well, we drew back into Stamp JJ and Articuno. Man, this is the same card minus... This is the same hand minus, like, one card, right? It's minus the water? Is that really what just happened? That's insane RNG. We're in really bad shape, though, of course. Because I need to survive some Sylvali hands, which is a big yikes. Let's go for some of this stuff. Alright, that's going to be some JJ fodder. That's unimportant because he has Sylvali. Put here is fine. Where's my blue energy card? I mean, if he attacks again, I just lose the game, so... so I can't even, Jesse James. We just have to Rosa here. To grab our blue energy card, to grab our monkey. And I guess I'm grabbing... Chip-Chip. Oh, Chip-Chip's so bad. I wish I had a crushing here. The only good news is that Keldeo doesn't instantly knock out the Articuno. Everything else about this sucks. We have tag call. They got a bunch of Malolanas. If they swell one more time, we just instantly lose, right? If they were to swell this turn, I don't think I ever have a win condition. We definitely need Surge. Oh, perfect, perfect. So both of our power plants are in the discard pile, unfortunately. So I, like, as much as I can, try to hand lock him. And we have to stamp just because we know that there's a Mallow in his hand. But it's still really yikes. Guaranteed to the will. Got everything in here. So we need to stamp. Oh. So our Mars needs to get us into our custom catcher. I'm regretting this Chip-Chip so much. If this was the custom catcher, I think I actually would have been okay. Like, I would have had to survive a Malolana for 1 turn. That's all I would have had to do. So the way I don't lose right now is if Mars gets me the custom this way round. And it doesn't. So yeah, I have no way to win the game. And no way to stop him from winning. Okay. Well, we lose that time around. I think I messed up my Rosa. That's where I messed up. If I had kept the Rosa as the custom, I could at least do a Gust that turn. Like I said, I'd lose to... Well, I mean, he'd have Dede outs, he'd have Tag Call outs, he'd have Malolana as the physical outs, and I think he'd have Switches as outs as well. So I think the Swell type null does end us for sure. So that matchup could not be any worse. So, let's try one more game. So far, an ADP win, an ADP loss, thanks to the good old Silvally being a beast of a man. Interesting seeing Silvally Swell combo to be like a perfect stamp proofing mechanism and a handlock denier, which is super good, actually. Seeing Oak setting rather than Ends Resolve. Just a slower build, but... Alright, we get to go first. The hand is looking ugly. It might be another Panic Tate Liza. We'll see. Might get some mulligan help here. More ADP. The ladder's full of ADP. Okay. Wait, there was a green in there. Green's ADP? No Keldeos? Bunch of mulligans. Pipstoice. Okay. I'm gonna Mars here. I don't want to take Liza the hand, it's too big. We wrecked a water energy out of his hand, busted. We drew into a Hapu for next turn, which is a good supporter. No sight of any burbs yet. Pipstoice is probably rough because they have so much attachment from hand. I guess probably Articuno can just win us the game. Probably. I imagine Articuno will win us the game. They're playing Metal Energies, so they're playing Pipstoice ADP, which still puts us on that short clock. And this is one of those games where, like, if you draw badly on the short clock, you just lose the game. Both these other times against ADP, I've been able to get enough burbs out quickly enough that it's not been that it's not been a huge issue. So they make you draw really well. All right, we did detonate one of our pigeons, so we'll have to get that back this turn. I'm still going to bench all 3. We're going to Pal Pad in... Am I going to Pal Pad? No, I just leave the Mars in my discard pile, right? That's the only thing I leave. Yeah, we leave the Mars in the discard pile. Put back the Elm so that we have better top decks and airmails, potentially. If I draw into an energy or the board, I can also retreat in Stellar Wish. They're going to greens, no doubt for a switch and probably like a spinner so they can... Oh no, they already spinned, right? They have the metal in hand. Switch and unidentified fossil. Wow, okay, so they're playing Omastar? That's going to make things difficult. Looks like everyone's out for birds. There's the GX attack. Let's go for this male. Crushing Hammer seems very good. The burb sounds good. Will is actually excellent here. Will is probably our best supporter to play here. They almost certainly play more waters than metals. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we know they have more energies. They chose to green for switch fossil. Does that tell us that they have more greens in their hand? Not really. I mean, we are wrecked as soon as the fossil comes down, right? But what are you going to do? People are out for birds, man. No one wants to lose to this deck, which makes sense. It's been super popular on the ladder recently, so it does make sense. Okay, they have the Cynthia Caitlyn. Alright, so they'll have the greens for next turn, so I'm probably going to have to stamp them next turn. Give ourselves as much time of items as possible. Because items are good. They help us win the game. We're going to take the bike and try and thin as many cards as possible here. Rosa for Articuno seems decent. For when we need it. Fire off this hammer. We're the worst. We will do this. We have the pad in hand, right? Yeah. We'll get rid of this jazz. We will bike some more. Board is very good. Yeah, board is very good. It's more cards. We like cards. I'm stamping the green because I don't want to get done in by candy shenanigans. If I am, feels bad, man. If I gust this, he might have to discard it, right? It's better than bringing up the Stoice. He can't attach retreat this anyways. So it's kind of the same. And if he evolves up from this, it still has a 2 retreat cost, the Omastar. So I definitely want to get back Crushing. Crushing and Customs. Should play this while I can. It's weird getting the JJ back, but I'm playing as if I may not have items soon. Still take the Crushing and the Custom though, right? Just take the Customs. Okay. This Omastar is going to hurt. I'm not going to lie. This Omastar is going to hurt. Very interesting that they have greens. Yikes. Okay. Yeah, really interesting that they're trying the Stoice. That can't be correct, surely. No one ever takes bikes off of green. Choose what you want. Don't just random draw. Unless he's trying to draw... What's he trying to draw? He's trying to draw energies? I don't understand. Is he out of spinners and he needs energies? He has switch. Well, it worked, I guess. I guess he got energy. That's kind of what he needed, right? It's the only way he bikes there. And he's powering up the Pipums. Okay. Let's start mailing. I can always take the water off the Rosa. Will is interesting. Probably not good enough here, though. It's probably still the best pick. Maybe it's the custom that's the best pick. I can try and trap the fossil again. They've played 2 switches. That's so bad. So we're playing the Rosa here for sure. I think I take the Pigeon over the Articuno though. The Gust feels awful. The Surge is probably the right play. I have no good supports in my hand, but we can just accumulate them next turn, I guess. Next turn it'll be at 2 cards, so I should probably just guarantee the JJ. Mars is pretty good. I'm going to fire this off. Maybe he had trouble last time finding energy, so I'm hoping that's the case again. If we get a free turn, that's huge. So I have to take an Oranguru back. We need an Oranguru. We need a hammer. And do I just put the Rosa back just in case he stamps me? Or do I take my stamp just in case he stamps me? Maybe I don't need the crushing at all. Maybe I just do this. Yeah, that sounds good. They conceded. That's very odd. Don't know why they conceded there. Weird. Anyways, games have gone on long enough. We've fought against a bunch of Arceus Palkia Dialgas, which really puts us on the clock and stresses us out. But yeah, the archetype is still strong. We saw a few ways that this can be countered. As we know, things like Zeb Striker, Swell plus Sylvala is another way of going about it. You could consider Faber coming into this list. Faber helps mirror, and it also helps against Swell, which I've not been too worried about Swell enough, but seeing like Swell Sylvala is actually really scary. So maybe it's mandatory in the list. I could definitely see going back up to 4 crushing, because every game we've only had 3 and then we've prized 1, and then it gets really a bit squeaky, you know. Well, as much as we can will, it's also a little bit yuck. We used Rosa to reasonably good effect. Just having that option, knowing that we can secure the Articuno on the right turn, has been really nice, just for some It just makes us play more calculated, I guess, rather than preying off of airmails. So that's cool. Let me know what you guys think about Bryson Burbs. Do you think it's very strong? Do you think it's just going to be heavily countered for the LAIC? I know a lot of people are hyping it up to be one of the strongest decks. So yeah, I'll hear it all down below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video tomorrow. Cheers.